Let me ask you to close because bottom line,
Yeah,
it's a life and death situation for the majority of people there. I mean, when you're talking about
yeah.
you have your aunt or one of your family members has diabetes, how do you get the insulin? When you're talking about dialysis machines, when you're talking about there's no shade and people are dying because of
There
dehydration.
is one really quick thing I want to add, just really quick, because it is really important and it's not being reported at all. So, petroleum and gas, there is no gas on the island. And according to, I don't know how true this is. You can look this up and see if you can find more information about it because I don't honestly know. But they are saying that there are goods that have been imported, but there are groups suggesting that it's not being distributed because they want to make this a political theatrical thing for for statehood. But then there's the more I don't there's a probable another probable cause that it is there's no gas. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no way to move the goods from the ports to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different arguments as to why this is going on, but there are goods in the port, but there is no gas on the island. And our electrical system is a public utility and it is run by petroleum. We have an old school way, the most expensive way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So people on the island pay 2 to 3 times more for their electricity.
But Paula, why, if the Dakota Access Pipeline, Keystone, Trans-Pecos, all of these are for energy independence, right? I mean, this is all for American consumption, these pipelines. Why aren't these brave oil executives sending some of the oil over to Puerto Rico right now? Is it because they're instead sending it to China and all these other countries instead of America?
Well, I mean, it's all about making money. These oil companies do not care about the people, obviously, because I mean, we know that what fracking causes earthquakes. Fracking poisons water. Then you have the oil pipelines underneath the ground that affect the groundwater. And in Puerto Rico, we have a coal ash dumping problem. And there recently in Ponce, there was a judge that ruled in favor of the AEE, which is a company that's known for just dumping coal ash wherever the hell it wants. And there are people, like the first thing that Oscar Lopez Rivera, he was a political prisoner in the United States that was released by Obama. The first thing he did, one of the first things he did was go to a demonstration in Peñuelas and get arrested again because of the coal ash dumping. So I mean, just and then and Kentucky and Appalachia coal ash dumping is making everybody in Eastern Kentucky sick and poisoning everybody's water. And none of this is ever going to be on mainstream news because they benefit from the advertisers that are connected with these energy companies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a full circle jerk of just all these horrible sociopaths who just want to make money because they really don't care about people. They
Right.
want to use the labor, the cheap labor of human beings, and they just they make us sick because
Mm-hmm.
they want to make money.
Are you, I want to know, obviously, we're going to be talking off camera too, but
Yeah.
what is the main thing the people watching need to know? I'll put links under the video, how they can donate, but what do they need to know that they're not getting the information correct from the corporate media?
All right. So Puerto Rico isn't just San Juan. Lord have mercy. It is way more than that. It is mountainous and it is has different there's three different regions of like the nature. And Irma did not Irma just brushed the northern part of the island, and it wasn't the eye of the storm that went through. The reason why the damage is so intense is that it cut through the middle of the island like this. So Puerto Rico is 100 miles long and 35 miles wide, and it went like this. And if you see images of the hurricane on top of the island, you will see why it caused so much damage. And it was there for 24 hours, and it became a category it went from a category 1 to a category 4 storm in less than 24 hours. And another thing is this so the storm surges were chest deep, but it had the wooden houses that basically are for poor people were just blown away. Blown away. So whole people's homes are gone in a country because I consider it as separate from the United States because we're not treated like Americans. We're not treated like Americans The 46% of people live below the poverty line. So how do you think that people are going to recover? And then on top of that, we have no food. The food that we were growing is gone off the island. So it's not that there's a garden and there's no, the winds, 155-mile winds that hit a small tiny island, and it's not even the smallest island out there, just blew it all away. And then there's the two islands that, because Puerto Rico is an archipelago, like I've never pronounced that correctly. So you have the Isla de Culebra, that's a part of Puerto Rico, and Vieques, that were both, I think it's Vieques, but I'm pretty sure it's Vieques. But these two tiny little islands are part of Puerto Rico, sorry, just blew, they were destroyed. There's like no life on those islands. And you people who live in poverty, another thing too is do not demonize looters. These people are literally the forgotten people on the island. They have no food. They have no water. There's lines to get in places. People are stealing power generators from McDonald's and Burger King just to try to live. They have no home. They have a government that's completely forgotten about them. How do you think they're going to react to a situation, they're describing this, Puerto Rican people are describing this as apocalyptic, like apocalyptic end times. People are in their homes too afraid to go outside because there are gangs with guns, like stealing stuff because they're desperate. And all of this could have been prevented by the United States if we had leadership that either A, would just give us our independence and let the Puerto Rican people do their own governing, or govern, and they knew Maria was coming. You have warmer oceans, and the oceans are rising. Climate change is real. The scientists keep telling us it's real. It's real. You have these hurricanes that are intensifying because we know that these hurricanes naturally occur. We know this. But at the same time, they're intensifying, and we know these things. And instead of preparing the island and bringing extra water and stocking the hospitals with medicine, they didn't do that. They just let the United States government is literally allowing the Puerto Rican people to die from preventable causes like thirst or just simply having a dialysis treatment. If this stuff was happening in the mainland to a state like California where people have money, are you kidding me? This crap would not be happening at all. But since it's a U.S. territory, I honestly, I think if we were a state, we would still get treated like this, because there are poor areas in Houston poor areas in Texas affected by Harvey, that people are getting evicted out of their homes after there is no home to go to. They're living in moldy conditions. Oh, and by the way, they have found that there's going to be new diseases that are forming in the water in Puerto Rico that's been reported. Like there are going to be diseases that haven't been around for a long time because of the conditions, the humidity. We had a Zika problem not that long ago. I mean, when I was pregnant in 2016, there was that Zika epidemic. I mean, that was in Puerto Rico. That was in Florida. You think that this stuff is going to magically go away? And I think the big takeaway is, the mainstream media isn't going to take care of people because they benefit from these disasters. Financially they benefit, and it's just, for me, sometimes it's even hard to conceptualize what's even happening on the island, because my cousin is staying here with me, and he got here right before Eid Mahit, like the week before Eid Mahit, and the watching him go through the emotions that he's going through, because when you see the images of your isla, of your home, of your patria, of your motherland, and it's just decimated, you don't even know how to react, and you don't even know what to do, because the postal service on the island it's down, it's gone.
Gotcha.
And they keep saying, oh, we're going to do it Monday. Well, they just said that they're not going to do it. And then on a lighter note, just to end this on something that isn't so abysmal, there are Puerto Ricans all over the United States gathering in huge groups. And that's not going to be on mainstream media, because they want to paint Puerto Ricans as mongrels and as animals. And I'm saying it just like that because I have been called an animal and I have been called a mongrel because I am Puerto Rican. And and I can't even imagine for Afro Latinx and Afro Puerto Rican and what their experience is, because their experience is way worse than mine.
Mhm.
So I'm only speaking for myself, for my experience. But we have gathered in Connecticut, Florida, Chicago. I think I saw Virginia. I'm trying to think of the places I actually saw. South Carolina, all over the place. We're in Texas. There are Puerto Ricans everywhere. There's 3.5 million Puerto Ricans on the island, but there's millions of us all over the place. So I mean, we're a strong people, but we've had to be strong because we know no one is going to take care of us. We take care of each other.
Right. Paula, thank you for telling us a lot of things that you won't see in
Sorry.
corporate media. And yeah, we'll get this information out there, and I'm sure you and I will talk more. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.